Hi, this is Kirk Davis with Green River Community College's Small Business Development Center. Hi, I'm excited to share with you an idea from the Hot 100, something I've been working on for quite a while, and it's actually exciting to share it with you. And it's a process that I use when I'm helping businesses focus on growing their business by $1 million or more. And one of the first things we'll actually do is actually talk about what does your business look like with an additional $1 million of growth. And we actually design out how much staff, how much equipment, or additional locations might be needed to actually have the capacity for $1 million of extra growth. And that's always a fun process. But then we get into something that I use as a guide and a process and a diagnostic in this process of growing your business by an additional $1 million. The first step of this process is operational excellence. And I call this having an insane level of operational excellence. We really want to be able to deliver on our brand promise or our business promise to customers and make them very, very happy. And one of the first things I do with my clients is actually have them design all of their business processes around building an excellent or superior customer experience. When it comes down to it, when you have a lot of competition, you're competing with people online, it's really people are going to choose the business that gives them the best customer experience. I was working with a moving company that has 19 direct competitors. Their business year to date in 2011 through August 2011 is like 40. Their sales are up 40% over last year, and it's because they've designed their systems and processes around the customer and developing an excellent customer experience. I was speaking with another business just recently about they've grown from 11 employees to 39 employees, and it was all based on delivering a better customer experience, and they designed all of their business processes. But what they did in the process there also is they got the owners out of the day-to-day operations of the business, and they were able to build systems and processes that allowed other people to take over the work. And every time we've gotten the business owner out of the day-to-day operations, and they go out and do business owner things, and they network and they build opportunities and build bridges, it's always come back to grow the revenue much faster. So I recommend operational excellence. Now, with a high level of operational excellence, the next step number 2, is to get the sales up to the capacity of the business. If you're a one-man or one-woman business, we call them a solo entrepreneur or a lone ranger entrepreneur, you don't have very much sales capacity, and you get bogged down in the day-to-day operations. But this is for businesses who are actually trying to build a business based on hiring employees and not just being the business. So if you're actually building a business and you've got employees, and you may have just a handful of employees initially, we're trying to get the sales up to the capacity of the staff. And that becomes our number one goal: sales, marketing, advertising, branding, online marketing, everything we can do to get the sales up to the current capacity. But if we start to get the sales over the capacity, then it always creates a lack of operational excellence and unhappy customers. So we just want the sales up to capacity, and then we move to step 3, which is improving profits. And this is where you really pay attention to the costs of everything that you're doing. And you work on reducing costs, reducing redundancies, anything that may improve your profits. We want to measure your margins. We want to look at strategies that actually create higher sales average, things that might give you a higher profit margin, so that we can build up cash in your business. And that's the whole idea, so that we can take that cash or those improved profits and do step 4, which is increase capacity of the business. So this is where we're hiring people or adding equipment or locations, whatever we need to do there to increase the capacity. And step 5 is we got to start over again, repeat the cycle, because every time you have new people or new equipment or new locations, you've got to bring everything and everybody back up to the new level of operational excellence, at the new level of capacity. And of course, then we want to get the sales back up to the new capacity and improve the profits based on the new capacity. And I will tell you, with the companies that I've worked with, it has been really amazing to watch the increased efficiencies as we look at ways to streamline the business, as we look at ways to make the employees more productive, as we implement new technologies. There are some companies that we've grown that have experienced over $1 million growth and have only had to add 2 employees because their existing employees became so much more efficient in the process. So I use this process as a guide as I'm thinking through what do I focus on next. Well, make sure certain that your operational excellence is really up to par. Then number 2, focus on the sales, getting that up to capacity. Number 3, then focus on profit. So I use it as a guide to get me where we need to go next in the growth process. I also use this as a diagnostic. So when people come in and talk to me about their business, I can hear the problems that they have, and you can imagine the problems that happen if you don't have operational excellence. You're losing customers, there's not strong word of mouth. If the sales are not up to capacity, you usually have a cash flow problem, and you're usually paying way too much in terms of your people and your payroll. And so whenever I hear the problems, I can go back and diagnose them based on this chart. And I want to share with you one more slide here that I call the 3 conditions of business growth. The first one is market demand. There is no business growth without market demand. And it's amazing the stories of companies who couldn't sell anything until they improved their messaging. Just one story that comes to mind is Apple Computer. They ran a campaign called the Mac and PC. You remember the young guy and the more frumpy guy. And that campaign ran from 2006 to 2010. Apple sales were at 19 billion when they first started the campaign. They were at 65 billion at the end of 2010. And from 2009 to 2010, their sales were up 70%. But they had created such a great campaign and a message that people understood, and built this identity that people want, that the true Apple customer wasn't going to buy a PC, and they were going to be Apple people and Apple customers, and they were buying the brand. And they in effect created their own market demand, from the invention of the iPod up through the iPad 1 and 2. You create a better experience for the customer, and they will choose you over the competition. The second part of this conditions is having the right people in your business. There is no substitute. The business can only be as successful as the people you put in it. So your job is to select the right people, get the right people in there, and you can tell, based on their accomplishments. Are they able to learn? Are they able to be flexible with all the changes? Businesses change constantly. You got to have people who are motivated, who are excited, and then you got to treat the people right. And so this comes to number 3, best practices. And you need 2 kinds of best practices in your business. You need industry best practices. So if you're a caterer or a restaurant, if you're a manufacturer, you've got to study and learn the best practices of your industry. Then the second type of best practices you need are business best practices. And this is what we teach in our Hot 100 business course. So we have over 300 best practices in 7 areas of your business, and we work with you to implement those. And every time they've been implemented, they've actually helped the businesses achieve a very rapid expansion. And I think of it in terms of when you have these best practices in place, it removes the friction of growth. So thank you for letting me share this with you. I hope this is useful to you. And my recommendation is, as you're working on the 5 steps of growth that we just talked about, that you work with your management team to actually work on these 3 conditions of business growth. So I wish you well, and I would love to talk to you more about growing your business by $1 million. I think it's a lot of fun. We have our Hot 100 business course, which you'll see listed under our classes. And this is the essence of our consulting work here at the Green River Community College Small Business Development Center.